Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Nice to see the BBC are still massively biased. They learn nothing. 12 hours, 14 hours, something like that, after they lose Tim Davie, their chief executive, the director general, because of the absolute rotten bias within the BBC. They're at it again. Nigel Farage was giving a meeting, and a press conference, if you will. He was announcing the new business plans that Reform have worked out. But he was, of course, asked about the events of, Tim Davie's resignation. And he started talking about it, but he kept getting cut off on the BBC. Now, other channels were carrying this, and it was fine, but the BBC, they did not want Nigel Farage talking about BBC bias. And so every time he started talking about this, the commentator would cut in and talk over. So he'd be talking about something, saying, the BBC was being biased and that. Then the commentator would go, well, there's Nigel Farage, talking about this, blah, blah, blah. So by him saying what Nigel was talking about, rather than us being allowed to listen to what Nigel was talking about, what the BBC are effectively saying is they're absolutely terrified of what Nigel Farage is going to say about the BBC. He was talking about this, and he said that they were biased. He mentioned being biased for some time. Think Europe, Brexit, climate change, Gaza. It's anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic, and all this. He said he spoke to the president, and this was telling. He said that he spoke to the president, and he said, "Is this how you treat your best ally?" It's rather telling, isn't it? But of course, the BBC is currently undergoing a state of, chaotic change. They don't know what to do. But the one thing they're definitely going to do, it seems, is continue the bias. He was asked, was Nigel, about who should replace Tim Davie, and he said someone with a history of turning around cultures. He said, but if they don't get it right, then millions of people are just going to stop paying their licence because they don't want to watch lies and bias and one-sided journalism, and they certainly don't want to pay for the privilege. But he says, it's going to be a lot of people there. Now, somebody else picked up on this bias, and they said that there's a very shrill newsreader not hiding her bias at all, and cutting in and out of Farage every time BBC bias is being discussed. It's not a good look. But let's face it, the BBC has been biased for years, and the latest, really, the straw that breaks the camel's back is them basically lying and inventing things that the president said when he said no such thing. But they can't have the truth because the truth doesn't suit them, so they reinvent the truth, Orwellian. And that's what the BBC is. It's Orwellian. The Ministry of Truth. Oh, somebody said something. Let's change what he said and then present that as truth so that people who are very, very stupid in our opinion will not realise that they're being lied to and will then get angry and agree with us. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what the BBC has become. So sad. I think now is the time has come for the BBC to go. If it wants to exist, it must go to a subscription model and see how many people are worth paying or are willing to pay for the shite that it pumps out. Not many, I think. Thanks very much. Bye.